regarding the current affairs of football and also the future of football. I want to thank you for your interest, and I want to thank you for having come here to the home of FIFA. This shows the interest that the international media has for the international movement that is football. It also attaches a great deal of importance to the problems that this universal sport needs to face from time to time. It is a sport that is played on every continent and in every corner of the world. And when I refer to problems, that naturally leads me to talk about solutions. Because if we only stay and stick to the stage of problems, that is no way forward. First of all, I want to share with you some information. The FIFA World Cup 2022 will be played in Qatar. There you have it. Having provided you with that information, I have to tell you that yesterday and today we were in a rather interesting situation at FIFA and at the Exco, because for the first time 3 ladies participated in our meeting of the Executive Committee of FIFA. You will know that Ms. Lydia Skera from Burundi was for 1 year a co-opted member. Now she was elected in our Congress in Mauritius, Ms. Skera. And now we have 2 co-opted members, Ms. Maya Dodd from Australia and Sonia Bien-Aimé from a small pair of islands called Turks and Caicos, located in CONCACAF. So this was a milestone. Normally we should have been 27 members, since we have 24 men and these women, but unfortunately Mr. Lefkaritis could not join us because he had an accident that affects one of his feet. Maybe it's the side effects of football or maybe some other activity. In any case, he couldn't attend the meeting. We spoke about political problems, sports political problems, urgent issues, and other issues that are not so urgent and for which we have more time. The urgent sports political matters and that need to be addressed at the next FIFA Congress, which will take place next year in Sao Paulo in June. There, we needed to wrap up the reform process at FIFA. Because we still have 2 points to resolve. One of them is the length or duration of terms of office, and the second relates to age limits. You are fully aware that in the Mauritius Congress we did not resolve these issues, and it was decided that they would be delayed and addressed in the following Congress. So we are continuing with the reform process. And I see that
President Chairman of the FIFA Media Committee, Mr. Sunil Gulati from USA, is attending this meeting as a support to the medias or support to the table. Doesn't matter, you are there. Welcome, welcome. So,
continuing with these reforms, we also need to address the issue of the implementation of the two committees which we decided on already in 2012. In other words, the Ethics Committee and the Audit and Compliance Committee. The Executive Committee has charged Mr. Theo Swanziger, member of our Executive Committee, to work on that. And in a similar fashion, we reached an agreement with the chairman of the Independent Governance Committee, Professor Marc Piet, that we would announce together the end of our work. Mr. Piet was at the forefront of this. He has already made his statement. So the EXCO quite simply wants to thank him. We want to thank Mr. Piet and his organization for the work they carried out and for the help they have provided FIFA to carry out this reform process. The second point, which also needed to be addressed urgently in terms of sports politics, and which is of extreme importance for an entire region, is the following. There are relations between the football associations of Palestine on the one hand and Israel on the other hand. The Mauritius Congress had given a mandate to the president of FIFA to start this dialogue, and we would broach this not only in terms of football and sporting organizations, but also with a political facet. And myself, with a delegation, carried out visits to both Palestine and Israel. I visited political authorities as well. And they were very positive about our work to improve relations, to improve the relations between associations that are full members of FIFA, but that sadly, in political terms, don't have the same rights. But that is not a problem that FIFA can resolve, but we might be able to lend a helping hand. We are currently in the second phase of our consultations between Palestine and Israel. We've had 2 meetings. After the second meeting, the case is now in the hands of the Secretary General, that together with the representatives of the 2 interested parties, will carry out working meetings. We have already identified a number of problems and they need to be resolved. The goal is that for the Congress of 2014 in Sao Paulo, we will be able to present some sort of MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, which would be important for the world of football and maybe also for the political world. It will be a sign of better times to come thanks to football, maybe. We shall see how this plays out, but I think it's going down the right path. The other major problem that is of a special concern to you, the media, is the issue of the World Cup in 2022 in Qatar. And I already said at the outset, and I'll repeat it now, the decision of the Executive Committee taken on the 2nd of December 2010 is still there. And there is no reason to call into question this decision. Even though, at the time, we only had 22 members that voted. And out of these 22 members, there has been a change of 9 members. If we look at the makeup of the current EXCO, so there have been some changes within that body. And so now, we needed to see when we were going to play this competition. And here I want to take responsibility, because at some stage I did say that June and July are so hot that we should be able to play this competition in other dates. And this statement that I made at the time has spilled a lot of ink and a lot of movements occurred in the news. This was also affected by other events that took place in Qatar between now and then. But the official documents of FIFA that have been, or that were given to all the bidders at the time, state, in these documents it is stated that in principle, the competition would take place with 32 teams. We're talking about the World Cup here. And it is expected,
which is expected to be staged in June and July of the year of such competition. Donc ce n'est pas.
So it is not a binding text that needs to be, it's not a binding text that binds us to June and July. So there has been much made of this, and you have helped me in this. So now we've decided that we were going to carry out consultations. These consultations would include all the participants in an event such as the World Cup. And who are these participants in English? These stakeholders include sports, and sports involves the players, clubs, leagues, national associations, confederations, and FIFA. But it doesn't only include sports. There are other partners involved. And these are economic partners, be they from marketing, the media, or television. And we also need to bear in mind our obligations towards these partners. And so we need to carry out very deep consultations, and we need to pay a great deal of attention to them. And we need to show some diplomacy and wisdom, and I'm looking to the Secretary General because I'm not the one who's going to carry them out. He is going to do it. So we decided we were going to carry out these consultations, and that these consultations would be done by the FIFA administration, and more specifically by the Secretary General, with a very slight level of supervision from the President of the Asian Confederation, Sheikh Salman Al Khalifa. So they will take this issue, and they will start working. They will have to set up a roadmap. And in December, we will present to the Executive Committee in exactly 3 months. No, actually 2 months. 2 months. 2 months? Yes, exactly in 2 months. They will present not the solution, but the roadmap, and which will explain where we're heading with this consultation. And we will end this consultation not before, but after the World Cup in 2014. Let us first play the World Cup 2014 with an easy conscience. Let's play this out in Brazil, and then afterwards we'll look at the results of the consultation. And at that stage, we will be able to say what is the best time frame in which to play the World Cup 2022 in Qatar. We had a big discussion on this issue, and we also had the big discussions on everything that concerns social labor rights and conditions. And on this issue, I would like for you to look at a letter that we have recently received. It is here in my possession. It was written by the Qatar Supreme Committee for 2022 with an annexed workers' charter. This letter is dated from the 27th of September, and it will be distributed to you. It will be included in the press release file, so you will have it at your disposal, and you'll be able to see that there are different ministries that have already started to address this issue. For our part, we have received statements and of concern from some worker organizations, Greenpeace, Amnesty International, and quite naturally, we have expressed, and I'm here continuing to express all of my sympathy and all of my regret for everything that happens in a country, indeed in any country, when there are deaths in construction sites, and especially when there are deaths on construction sites related to a World Cup. It doesn't mean this only involves stadia, but it also can include other areas of work. And we should also say the following. Workers' rights will be covered in your case file. And it's a responsibility not only for Qatar, but for the actual companies that work there. There are many European companies working there. And these are also responsible for the working conditions of workers there. And it's not FIFA's primary responsibility. But we can't turn a blind eye here. And it does affect us. But it is not a direct intervention from FIFA that will change things. This intervention can only be carried out by Qatar itself, and Qatar has confirmed that they will do so. The EXCO has decided to request the president of FIFA to go to do a visit out of courtesy to Qatar, and I will meet with the new emir. About a month and a half ago, a new emir was elected, Sheikh Tamim, and I have met him, and this is not random because he's also a member of the International Olympic Committee. I met him in Buenos Aires about a month ago. So we've already established our first contacts. So I will go with a delegation in the name of the EXCO of FIFA for a courtesy visit, but it's also a visit to confirm the World Cup 2022. But I will also touch on this concern, which concerns many people in the world, and that is the working conditions in that country. But we aren't the ones that can actually directly change it. That is everything as regards Qatar. We have also covered many other issues on today's agenda. For example, the draw for the World Cup at the end of the year to be held in Brazil. The last teams that still need to qualify. We have also discussed the implementation of a resolution made by Congress concerning racism and discrimination. the fight for the integrity of our game with respect to match manipulation. And with these two challenges, we need the support of political and police authorities, because alone we will not be successful. With my delegation, we have visited Palestine and Israel. We passed by Syria. And we also saw Jordan. And in Jordan, I went to see a Syrian refugee camp. 120,000 people in a camp. 120,000 is a small Swiss town. It would be the fourth town in Switzerland, actually. And this camp was in the middle of the desert. They were in tents and caravans with a supply of water in some parts. Once again, football can help. We built, and we weren't the only ones. UEFA also was involved. We decided to give an additional credit of $800,000, 2 goal projects, that is, to help this camp so that the Syrian refugees can live with some decency. I will spare you the details of diverse committees, but you should know that we did confirm that we need to continue with this project for the health of players that is called 11+. Throughout the world, we play with an 11-a-side squad, and this was an EXCO meeting with many items on our agenda, but in 8 hours of work, and also thanks to the great discipline we've had, and also thanks to a great deal of respect, we have managed to find solutions. And now what we need to do is implement these solutions. So there you have it. That is what I had to say as an introduction. Did you want to add anything, Mr. Secretary General?
The ranking which will be used for the final draw is the ranking of the 17th of October, just to make things clear from now. So it will be before the last playoff games are played, to make sure that we recognize the teams who have qualified directly to the World Cup. So it's the ranking of the 17th of October. Thank you.
Yes, then we start with the questions. As you see, a lot of people. So once again, one question, just to respect the time for your colleagues. Maybe we start and just tell us your name and the newspaper you're working for. Yeah. Well, we start here, Paul. Yeah, just 1 second.
Thank you, Mr. Blatter. It's Paul Kelso with Sky News. You accept the World Cup cannot be played in summer. You have an ongoing investigation into corruption allegations surrounding the bidding process. And now you have workers dying building the infrastructure for this World Cup. You've launched a consultation. Surely what you should do is remove the World Cup and rerun the 2022 vote.
Thank you. This is not a question. This is a declaration. I take note of it.
Do you agree? Do you agree with that?
No, I don't agree. I have just explained what we are doing. So it is a declaration. We know this declaration, but I cannot agree to that. I have just said what the Executive Committee has decided.
Jamil, here. Next one, please.
Mr. Blatter, Jamil Shadi from São Paulo. You didn't mention the preparations for the World Cup in Brazil, which is your next one, and we know it's not up to date. But my question is also on the question that players in Brazil have requested to have a bigger word at CBF at the agenda of the matches in Brazil. Do you fear Or do you feel that since here you are also taking players to discuss the international calendar, do you think in Brazil players should be listened by CBF? Thank you.
Je vous remercie.
Thank you. Thank you for having moved the focus of questions to today, because we're talking about we were talking about 2022, and we haven't yet played the World Cup in 2014. And we shouldn't get ahead of ourselves. We need to focus on the current World Cup that will be played in Brazil and then in Russia. To go back to your question, that is an internal Brazilian issue, but I agree with you. And at the level of FIFA, we do this. We even have a memorandum of understanding with FIFPro. And when we talk about competitions, we invite players to participate also in the establishment of international calendars.
And the next one there.
Owen Gibson from The Guardian. Mr. Blatter, you say that you can't directly affect the situation regarding workers' rights in Qatar, but your influence can shift the dial for the Qatari government. If workers keep dying at the current rate, will you still hold the World Cup in Qatar?
You are looking to the future, and I cannot look to the future in the present. And I told you I am going to Qatar now, and I will put the attention of Qatar to the situation we are facing with all the letters or demands we are receiving, but also on their responsibility, which you have on this paper, which will be distributed later. We have plenty of time concerning Qatar because it is 2022, it is in 9 years. So everything what will be there for the time being, and I have said, confirmation, we play in Qatar and we go forward.
Next, yep.
That's David Bond, BBC. You were quoted last month saying about the Qatar decision that it may well be that we made a mistake at that time. Do you still think it was a mistake?
It is the interpretation what is the mistake. The mistake is to think that we could play this competition easily in the summertime. And now we are in this consultation if it is we can or we cannot play in summertime. So let's wait the outcome of that. When I said that, it was related to the period of time and not to the period or the decision where the World Cup is going. 22 has been not only reconfirmed, has been confirmed by the Executive Committee on the 2nd of December 2010.
Yep. Mr. Blatter, Martin Ziegler from the Press Association. According to the member for Belgium, a final decision on the date for 2022 may not be taken until 2015. Is that correct? That the final decision on the date for 2022 may not be taken for 2 years?
Where are your sources coming from?
There was a quote from Dr. Michel Doug.
Bon, Dr. Michel Doug, he was at the meeting today, and we haven't said, or I cannot contradict what he has said 2015. I have only said we will not make the decision before we have launched and finished the World Cup 2014. It can be end of 14, beginning of 15, but it cannot be later than 15. This cannot be. So Doug is not so wrong when he said that. So it's a good source for you.
Mr. Blatter, good afternoon. Brian Swanson from Sky Sports News. Is FIFA embarrassed in any way by this ongoing discussion? Everyone knew it was very hot in Qatar in June and July. What has changed since the vote in 2010?
Well, I don't think that the general temperature in the world has changed, but it has changed that there was some doubts if it is a good period to play in this heat. The Qatari organization still have given us assurances that they could play in 2022 in June, July, but they would look forward what is the decision of the FIFA. It is for 2022. And I said at the beginning, we could have made this declaration that is too hot a little bit earlier. I take it on my responsibility that I could have said it before. But it's so much time to come, and we first have to deliver the other competitions. But now we are in the problem, and when we have a problem, we must have a solution, and that's why we are going towards to this solution.
Yes, please.
Mr. Blatter, you have been advocating use of technology in football more. Have you lost faith in technology by rejecting Qatar's cooling technology? They are still hopeful of hosting the World Cup in summer using the cooling technology. So why there is a rethink?
Thank you for your question, my dear friend, and you are smiling when you are bringing this question, because you are mixing two things which have nothing to do the one with the other. Technology in football is one thing on the field of play, and technology to bring down the heat is something else. And I was against technology in football at the very beginning when we spoke about technology, but when I witnessed personally in 2010 this famous non-goal agreed by the referee that England against Germany, then I have said if we have a system of technology on the field of play, and it is the goal line technology, and we are going with that. To cool down, this is another technology. And this will be a matter now in the consultation process we are doing, that definitely he will also make the consultation with Qatar. Sure.
Yes, please.
Mr. President, my name is Abdulaziz Al-Ahmar from Stade Doha, Arabic newspaper from Qatar. I have a small thing. You said in 2011 in Japan that World Cup in Qatar 2022 is intact, and now you are sticking to your position. My question is, will there be a time frame for just deciding it's winter or summer? And a small just clarification that the Nepalese ambassador in Qatar refuted all what has come in Al Guardian newspaper. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
I couldn't understand the second part.
The second part is that the Nepalese ambassador in Qatar, Nepalese ambassador in Qatar,
Nepalese.
Yes, she came in a press conference and refuted all what has come in Al Guardian story. Thank you very much. That was in public. It was not secret. Thank you.
We have also received some information about constructors that all this information which have been circulated are not true. And when I said in 2011 the World Cup in Qatar is intact, it's still intact, but we are just looking what is the best period to play. Thank you.
Question for Mr. Blatter. You said unequivocally that the World Cup will be held in Qatar. If that's the case, what is the point of the investigation that Michael Garcia is doing? What is the remit of his investigation if it's definite that the World Cup is in Qatar in 2022?
Listen, this is an item that has been brought forward to the Executive Committee of FIFA. And I had to say, gentlemen and ladies, because we have now ladies in the Executive Committee, it's not up to the Executive Committee to make any comments on the possible or not possible investigation by the Ethics Committee, because the Ethics Committee is totally independent, has been elected by the Congress, and has nothing to do with the Executive Committee. And we have no influence to this Ethics Committee, and therefore we don't know where they are now and what they want to do. But we are working, and we work today on the system of the competition, and we were touching the labor rights. That's the only thing we had to do, and not enter into consideration of any ethics or other committees investigating them.
Herr Blatter, Florian Bauer von der ARD.
Florian Bauer, German TV. If I understood you correctly, that the main responsibility lies in the pitch of Qatar. But please, I stand to be corrected. two things were discussed vividly over the last few weeks, but they were known already a few years ago. The cooling technology, the working conditions are the same, the heat is known. So to what extent do you see also FIFA's responsibility in this context? And could have one taken up a subject like the human rights and workers' rights up in 2010?
That's mit der Hitze.
Well, about the heat, well, you're entirely right. And I indeed say that we should have spoken about heat before. And in the bid documents, it was clearly said that it's hot in Qatar. It was me who invented that, and you didn't either. And as to the working conditions throughout the world, this is not FIFA's remit. We cannot assume the duty of supervising security on building sites in the world. And what has happened now, well, of course, we're not indifferent to that. We cannot simply turn a blind eye on that and say it doesn't worry us. It does concern us. And for this reason, a trip to Qatar is now planned. It is a pity that you didn't get these documents before. Once you have these documents, you will clearly see. You have received these documents? So, if you have received these documents, you can plainly see what Qatar has already done on their own behalf. But we have 209 associations, and in 209 associations, you have different institutions, political, social, cultural associations, and we cannot go into these matters. We can only do something when we realize, when we see, when we're here, and if we know ourselves, because this has been confirmed by the Qataris themselves, that something has been amiss, and then we can go say, yes, there's something wrong, and we want to help.
Seite, bitte.
Markus Hamm from ZDF.
Markus San, second German channel. You say there were political influences when the voting for Qatar took place. What do you mean by that, and why are you softening that stand? And if the bid of Qatar was bad, why did it get 14 votes? Is it all right if I answer in a different language? Does it have to be German? Okay, you prefer German? Okay, I'll say it in German then. But you know, in our region of Switzerland, our German is not that good, but I'll try. What was the question?
Nein.
No.
Nein,
Hä?
Die 14 Stimmen hat er gesagt, wieso trotzdem 14 Stimmen haben.
No, die zweite Sache.
Well, that is very simple. Yes, your first question was? Yes, well, thank you. I thank you for this question on the political influence. The political influence, dear friends, and you want it in German, here it comes in German. There is no attribution of a competition, sporting competition, at the level of a FIFA World Cup, at the level of Olympic Games, and possibly a level of other worldwide competitions or World Cup. There is no competition without the political element showing up. We were in Buenos Aires for the Olympic Games in 2020. You have the entire political world, the top political brass of the countries that want to qualify for this competition coming. The same thing happened here for 2022. And then in 2012, there was a presence by all the bidders for 2018 and 2022. One could have believed that is a European summit, a political summit, and an Asian summit as well. And these people will always come and say that there is an influence by the politicians. You cannot avoid that when such a decision is taken, political forces show up and try to influence a decision. You cannot avoid that because these competitions have come to such a high level that it has such a high image from the organization on the one hand and TV and the media on the other hand. They suddenly have such an importance and such a quality that not only the sportsmen want to be privy to it, but also the politicians want to join in. They want to be there when the bid is presented. They want to be there when the decision is taken. But of course, only one can win. Many have been looked at, but only one can win. And why 14 voted for Qatar? Well, the procedure, the election procedure, and we had 22 voters. This is a secret ballot. And then you will have to ask individually who voted for Qatar and who didn't.
Ja, das kann ich mir erklären.
Well, I can explain that to myself. The same thing what happened with the Olympic Games. It's not only the best report, best evaluation that has won, but it's also determined by the heart and by the spirit. Both help to decide. Well, that's what you said. I didn't say it.
Dan Rowan, BBC News. President Blatter, just to confirm, amid all this uncertainty, is it still possible that after this consultation process...
Who is speaking?
Hello. Is it still possible that after this process, FIFA could decide to keep this World Cup in the summer, or is that almost impossible now? And is it true that you wanted this decided upon here in Zurich today, and that effectively you faced a rebellion from within your own executive committee and therefore the delay?
No. I wanted to create a discussion on summer or winter. And I do not expect it that we go and make a decision now. We cannot make a decision without having consulted our partners. It is impossible. It is impossible. You have to make a difference between a political diplomatic approach when you express something and then the reality of facts. And I do not know what will be the outcome of this consultation. I don't know what will be the decision which we will take, probably end of 2014. Let us work on that, and then we will see. And thank you, we have plenty of time. Thank you.
Last two questions. One here, please. Yes.
Ilya Dmitrichev, Russian news agency TASS. May I ask a question not about Qatar? Yesterday, the FIFA chief investigator Michael Garcia was barred from entering Russia, and I wanted to know your opinion about that.
I have no opinion about that. No opinion. I don't know why, and I have no opinion about that. And we were not formally informed what has happened or happened. So I'm sorry, I cannot express any opinion on that.
Last one here.
Let me see if I found somewhere something, then I will tell it to you, but for the time being, I cannot answer.
Yes, please.
Mr. Blatter, Steve Scott from ITV News. If 2022 is played in the winter, will FIFA consider compensating any of its stakeholders if it costs their businesses financially?
That's a very intelligent question, definitely. And this will be an outcome of the discussion and the consultation which are made. And then we will see what will be the result if we are going to play in winter. What are the consequences on liabilities that FIFA has towards the sponsors and others, or to the leagues and other professional organizations. But I cannot foresee what it will be. Unfortunately, I'm not a prophet. I would like to be a prophet. No, I would not. Otherwise, I would know who will win the World Cup. And this is not good. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you so much for your interest. Thank you. And Qatar will be played 2022. We don't know it's winter or summer, but now here it's winter. I'm sorry that we have no sunshine in Zurich. But we have had sunshine in the Executive Committee today because for the first time we have had 3 ladies in the Executive Committee. Thank you.